I'm actually waiting on the sheriff. He wanted me to come for something else, so I'm waiting on him.
We had the hospital at 9. Nothing else is on YouTube. So I guess we'll recess.
Do we need a lectern?
Yes.
Yes.
Saturday we did drug take back day with Stafford or St. John Police Department. We got 66.6 pounds.
Really?
Yeah. It's an evil number, I know. Next next time in October, twice a year, I'm going to talk to Stafford PD about doing it over there. See if we get anything more.
That's a lot.
Got any good drugs?
Huh?
Got any good drugs?
Not anymore. There were some good drugs in there, yes. That's why the police stand by. So nobody knocks them in the head.
So what actually happens to them? What do you?
They go back to the DEA, and the DEA destroys them correctly.
Which is
Flushes them down.
I suppose incinerate them. I don't know what they do with them.
really.
Yeah, they send out the boxes.
You can really trust it.
Shipping labels and everything, and people just bring them in, throw them in the box, and Adam was shipping them back.
So how many hours
Were we there?
you collected?
4.
4 hours and 66 pounds.
Yes.
That's amazing.
That's pretty good for just a small, I mean, just a small community, you know?
If I'd have remembered, we could have leveled it up to about 70.
So you do this again in November?
It's twice a year, October and April.
Oh,
So we'll see how October goes. I wish we could do it from 9 to 12 instead of 10 to 2. I asked Adam, I said, did you set those hours? And he said they did. The DEA had it. They send out the posters and everything.
Yes,
It didn't just show up, kind of.
was it mainly tablets and capsules? Was there a lot of liquids?
Everything. Yeah, there was
Well, that accounts.
some
Poundage,
test next to codeine in a bottle. That much out of it. I know. It was, didn't expire
There's
until
some other
2014.
drugs, don't they? I don't even know what they're talking about. Mercy. You need to take yours, by the way, Ron.
There was some of that in there too. The other question I had on a downtime, I kind of took a tour of the building. Is my stuff that was in the sheriff's office over there now?
Yes,
In one of those compartments?
I think it's in mine.
It's in yours?
You need it?
No, I just like, if we get audited, and they tend to show up unannounced, I'd like to know where
Yeah,
it's
we
at.
can do
Okay.
it.
All right. And then I just got this back. I know it's a little bit. This is what, almost May. It's the agreement between Stafford Hospital and the Health Department. I guess it's for Brigda, right? For the building. Forget already.
So this takes a motion, I guess.
I suppose he signs it.
I think you have to make a motion.
Well, I'll make the motion, we allow the chairman to sign this agreement with the Stafford County Hospital and Dr. Farmer.
Yeah, he supervises.
Okay.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we accept this agreement with Dr. Farmer and the Stafford County Health Department. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried.
On Wednesday this week, we have the sports physicals from 4 to 8. Cal State comes out, and so next week is held fair. And a WIC audit. And PAP audit. What else? Way too much for 1 week, I think. Then we're working on the community health assessment. We have our first meeting Friday.
Are you working with the hospital? You guys doing this together?
Yeah, we have to. Well, it's stupid not to.
Yeah.
But this is the only time we're gonna coincide, because theirs is every 3 years, mine's every 5 years.
Yes, sir.
So this is the only time we're really gonna coincide on getting it done together. We listened to a presentation from Dr. John Leatherman from K-State. They help facilitate and do these things, but we don't have enough money. They get $4,800 for 2 meetings,
Wow.
$5,300 for 3 meetings. If you want an economic report, it's another $1,000. And the grant says I can only spend 60% on facilitation, so it's only 24, so that's 1/2 of 1 meeting. So we can't afford it. So we're gonna have to be more on our own, find somebody that, we can do that. I think we can do everything. I've already pulled a lot of the data. I spent quite a bit of time on this. A lot of the data, I think we're smart enough to review the data. I think we're smart enough to figure out the priorities, and smart enough to do a survey, but I'm not smart enough to compile everything. I don't want to spend the time doing it. I'd pay somebody. So I'm looking for somebody that's really good at extracting data and crunching the numbers.
So you need a
making it look
statistician.
just about. I put an email into my daughter in North Carolina because she works in that area. And she may know somebody that wants to moonlight for a little bit of money. I mean, in days of, emails and all of that. And I'm going to be down there the 17th of May, for 4 days. So if she finds somebody, I'll pay him. I will. And then that'll be done. And then the next step, if we want to move toward a voluntary accreditation, it's not really voluntary.
You don't have much choice here, do we?
It's all tied to funding. At the meetings last week in Wichita, and they kept saying voluntary accreditation. I wanted to say, yeah, no. It's not even.
Yeah, it's not voluntary at all.
It's not voluntary.
And it's happening.
You have to pay a fee, of course, a huge fee to be part of it. So this is just basically the very first step.
Now, is this similar to what we did 4 or 5 years ago when?
I think the hospital, did they do a health assessment before they went countywide? But this Dr. Leatherman worked with Stafford County in that transition, and I don't know any more about it than that. And neither did anybody.
Because K-State did it.
Yeah, it's him.
And then they had someone at Fort Hayes do a telephone survey.
Oh, yeah, if you want to do that, it's another $5,000.
Yeah. But they only call 200 numbers, or 200.
Well, how do you do that anymore when everybody's got a cell phone, and when the bill comes due, they change the number?
Yeah.
That's the way it is at our place. That's why I went on Facebook, so I can Facebook these people, because they're all on Facebook, but they don't all keep the same phone number for a month. I don't know how you reach them.
But this, the outcomes of that was, they need a pharmacy and
We know that.
in an ice cream store.
We know that.
No.
Well, if you're going to identify gaps in care, it doesn't take a genius to figure out what they
Right.
are. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
But it's just priorities, what people think their priorities are, and then out of that survey, you pick out one task, and then that's your quality improvement for the next 5 years. And then in the next 5 years, you do this all again and pick out something else, so it never ends.
Right.
But hopefully you accomplish one of those tasks
You have to work, you have to do something.
and pick a priority and work
Yeah,
towards it.
and work towards, whether it's, I think in Stafford County, we have a real problem with access to oral care for a lot of people because they have a medical card or they have no insurance, they have a hard time getting in the door. They have to go to Barton or Pryor or Reno County to have a medical card. We have a lot of chronic disease, which is related to inactivity, which is related to obesity, which, just
Right.
So, you just have to pick one. So if we picked oral care, your strategy might be recruiting a dentist. Well, that's going to be a little difficult. All of the questions we have are hard questions.
So what's these things, you know, like Central County, they have a group of dentists come in and they go out at the Coliseum, whatever, and people stand
Oh,
in
that
line.
is Mission of Mercy. I've helped with that several times. That's once a
They do
year.
Mexico too, don't they? Don't they have any other place?
It rotates every year. I went to Wichita and I went to Topeka. But when they have it in like Pittsburgh and this last year was in Kansas City, it's too far.
But they had a little Hutchinson one year.
One year they had it at Hutchinson,
People
one year
have-
they had
you
it
have
at
any people that
Salina,
have-
one year they had it at Garden City.
Lots of people lined up for,
But they did extractions and fillings.
They do extractions and fillings and cleaning, and then there's the secret room where they do,
The secret room?
they call it where they do root canals, you're not supposed to know it. They'll do a root canal.
Hmm.
You're
Then
kidding.
they've got a special place for kids, just one area for peds,
those are really,
and they put the sunglasses on the kids and the earphones, and those kids just love it. Yeah, I've helped 2 or 3 times.
Couldn't do anything like that around here.
was that wasn't Hutchinson about?
Great
3 or 4
Bend,
years ago?
it would maybe be the closest, or Dodge.
I thought
You
they
need
were
a
program.
big place.
Yeah.
It takes them like a week to set up,
Really.
because they have a semi full of dentist chairs and whatever, and then a lot of dentists like to bring their own equipment because they're just more
And they
comfortable,
want
so that
enough
they
people to
donate.
justify all
Oh, they get enough people.
Oh, yeah, the one at Hutchinson at one time, Shirley's lined up at 4 o'clock in the morning.
They
to get
camp
in.
out all night. It starts on Friday,
the.
and they'll start camping out like Tuesday or Wednesday. When I went and helped in Topeka, it rained the night before everybody got wet, and it was cold. And so here's all these cold people coming in. But they feed them breakfast, yeah. And, you know, I was helping with the medical exams, and they just said, I just want them all pulled. I just feel so bad. I just want them all out. Yeah. Or, you know, one guy said, well, I just got out of prison. I wouldn't let them dentists work on me. You know, he's got 1 tooth. I'm like, okay.
And they fill in.
I don't know what happened to him. Anyway, you know.
What was he doing there?
Getting that 1 tooth filled, or pulled, yeah. But you see little kids with really bad problems. And, you know.
Nice.
But I think that's one big gap we have.
Is that through grants to do that? It's all donated
It's through
time.
Mission of Mercy, all the, yeah. I don't know where they got their money. I know I think the semi says Knights of Columbus across the side, so maybe they do some funding for it or something.
I think it's a good program.
It's a very good program.
A lot of people who can't afford it.
You see it
A lot of
first.
health problems stem from dental
Yeah,
problems.
yeah. Yeah, it's preventative, you know, nobody does preventative, they don't have the money. They don't go get cleaned twice a year and shit. They just wait till they have a problem and then they call me and say, I need an antibiotic to get me through the weekend. And they go somewhere and get teeth pulled. They don't have it fixed. So it's kind of sad. Anyway, that's what happened Friday. We're gonna try and get the survey out fairly quickly. We only have till August to complete this grant. It's gonna be intense. Okay.
Wow.
Thanks.
We had a pretty good turnout for the meeting Friday, so it kind of made me feel a little better.
Well, hopefully we get a good turnout for the health fair.
I hope so.
You used to do, don't you?
It's been dwindling.
Has it? I sure like better stand in that line out there. We like have one place like it used to be. I think it's,
Maybe on
I can
Saturday.
just walk in, yeah, right, that Saturday morning thing, and people be out there,
Yeah.
wait in line for 2 hours or something to get in.
Yeah. So anyway, if I survive next week, what people don't murder me on it.
They
All
will,
right.
we'll pass with flying colors.
Yep.
Well,
I'm not worried at all.
there's some little known factoids about WIC that I didn't know till the other day. Complete innocence or ignorance, whatever that word is. So, yeah.
Thank you. Let's recess so I can take this phone. Are we in on?
Yes, sir.
Here.
How are you guys?
Good, how are you guys?
Great. Everybody's in a good mood this morning. Chipper.
Yeah, there's some stupid people on the road though. The stupidest person had Central County tag, not
Believe
Stanford or
that.
Pratt, but 27,000 miles an hour and no lights on.
It's crazy to use your lights, I think, yes, and see those people all the time, put their lights on.
I know. Same deal. Is that what they're doing? The generator or the alternator doesn't have to work as hard.
This
I'd rather be alive than.
engineer friend of my son's is talking about, let me pick that, but he outsmarted his automatic lights by putting his hat on the sensor, you know, so the lights would come on because it was foggy. And Jake's sitting there, why didn't you just turn them on?
Oh. That would be difficult. Wow.
That's scary, huh?
Okay, well, what you have in front of you is the balance sheet on top, which shows, that's the one, the one that's portrait.
Pay attention.
Hey.
It shows the assets and the liabilities. The cash that we've been able to keep a little bit of cash, grow it a little bit because we really have not been paying all of our bills that we need to pay, the back bills and stuff. Waiting for the no fund warrants. So, and accounts payable is up a little bit through the end of March. There was a couple big bills that we paid towards the 1st of April, the therapy and the drug bills, which are important. So, the rest of it pretty much remains unchanged. The next page. This is the operating statement. And at the top, starts with the revenue. This is the one you see all the time. I'll give you these when you what you'll notice is that there's no budget in there. The second column over, there's no budget. But if you look down on line 19 and line 21 and line 23, there is a budget. That budget comes from the numbers that I gave you guys in November based on cash. So what we're trying to do is make sure that we're always talking in the same comparison. Since we didn't have an operating budget for next year, or for this year, what we had was the budget that I gave you guys based on revenues and what we thought we could get our expenses down to. So for the month of March, we were behind that number by $17,000, but we were up compared to prior month. That's what that shows you on the left-hand side of that. Do you want me to point that out?
So you're behind what you projected based on that.
Right, on the base for revenue. So this is, the first one is the comparison to the budget that we put in, and then that one's the comparison to the prior month. So the 1, 2, 3, fourth column over is the budget comparison, and the sixth column over is the comparison to the prior month. So net revenues were $299,000 this month, and we were looking for them to be $317,000. And obviously the tax appropriations don't change, so the difference between 19 and 20, line 19 and line 23 is just the tax appropriations. On the expense side, you'll notice if you look down on line 42, we had total expenses of $315,000. If you look one column over, the budget was $346,000. So we're under budget. Under budget by $31,000. We are over last month. And part of that is due to professional fees and provision for uncollectible accounts. And those provision for uncollectible accounts is just the estimate on what we're not going to collect. And it's going to move, it's going to change based on whether we have a lot of private pay money come in or we have a lot of commercial money come in. It's totally based on the AR. So it's a set percentage of each type of accounts receivable, but it's going to be based on the accounts receivable that's in the bucket at the time, at the end of the month of this financial statement.
It's just a set percentage.
Yeah,
It's
there's
necessarily reality, but
well, we base it on reality, we base it on testing. So we know, for instance, that private pay people, 85% of private pay we write off. We know Medicaid is, 75% write off. Commercial is a higher, those kinds of things. So, but it's based on the bucket of accounts receivable at the time. So it may be stronger for private pay, it may be stronger for Medicare, depending on what is sitting in that accounts receivable bucket at the end of the month. That's why that number will change. So we had a loss this month of 11,666, which puts us at a year-to-date loss of 76,356, which is less of a loss than we budgeted. So that's good. We're ahead of budget. And it's on the loss is on the revenue side. So we're keeping our expenses down. We just don't have as much revenue as we'd like to see.
Yeah, your expenses down 31,000 and your under budget 17, so you got a net actually
Right,
increase better than there. It's about that many dollars, about $17,000
right.
for keeping expenses down.
Yeah, exactly. So when you look at the statistics page, which is the last page that I gave that we brought you, you'll notice that February we had 11 acute admissions, in March we only had 1. And that's where the big revenue is going to come from, is from acute admissions, and then from skilled swing bed. We had more days in March than we had in February, and that's why the revenue was not as low as it could have been when you compare acute days. This is have you guys ever seen this? This is the statistic report.
This is what I used to actually get value from.
Okay, well, this is,
I could look at this and see how the hospital was doing.
right, and this is a summary version because the 4-page thing we had was way too much. So all this is from the top. It has admissions, and that's acute admissions, so that's total. And then if you look down, you'll see that there was 1 in other, which means that we did not admit a Medicare person or a Medicaid person. We admitted another person, which is either commercial or private pay. And acute census days was 3. Since it was only 1 person, that person stayed for 3 days. In the month of February, 11 people were admitted, 9 were Medicare, 2 were other, and they had a total of 25 days.
I think what's important about this and what people need to understand is not just that those people that were admitted, but look at all the other things you've got here. And this is what I got value from and understanding is your physical therapy. You had 36 patients and you had 239 treatments.
Right. So her volumes have gone up
Right.
over the last 3 months.
And your respiratory treatments, 87, radiology, 53, CT exams, that was down, but it was from 12 and 13 to 6. There's a lot of stuff going on here. Lab testing, 2,237 tests.
Right.
That's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just patients coming into the hospital and spending the night.
Right.
That's going on.
Right. That's the rest of the revenue that we have.
And, that's what the hospital does on a daily basis. That's what's important to understand.
Yeah.
So,
And 71 emergency room visits.
yeah. We'll go down the whole list. So, it's not just how many spend the night.
Right. And the admitted and transferred on the emergency room visits, if they were admitted to the hospital, which means they were sick enough that they had to be treated in the hospital, but not so sick that we needed to transfer them to another hospital. And the 4 under that transfer, they were transferred out. And that means that they were brought into the hospital and admitted to the emergency room and then transferred. That will not coincide with any direct transfers via Eagle Med or ambulance from an accident scene to a different hospital. Somebody went directly to Wichita. That's not going to. These are people who were admitted to us and then for whatever reason were transferred out to a different hospital. Mm-hmm.
At the bottom here, outpatient procedures, 1,986, number of patients, 218. That reflects what the hospital
Right.
does.
That's exactly. That's the everyday business of the hospital that they do.
Okay. Well, it's not perfect, but it's the right direction. Right?
Yep.
And I don't want to summarize it too briefly, but that's what it's telling me. You want to work on your revenue, but you've got your expenses under control.
Expenses going down too, but
And
more than what the revenue
basically
going
you've accomplished the same thing.
Have you heard anything from Kevin Cowan?
No.
The gentleman an email from Vita about the 15th of May, I think is what he was.
I just wonder if we heard anything since then. He was waiting on a.
He's waiting on the proposal from the St. John National Bank. He's hoping the closing funding will be sometime around the 15th. It's pretty vague, I know.
Yeah. And he's an attorney.
It's very frustrating.
He gets paid
It
by
really
the hour.
is.
He finally got a hold of where they could, somebody over there could,
Well, Chad called me.
I know he did, he tried-
I got a hold of this guy, and eventually they
Got
connected.
together.
yeah, he tried to call the chicken time, couldn't get a
That's
hold
what he
of him.
said. So,
Maybe
You
I should
nailed him,
volunteer
everything
to
else.
drive to Wichita to pick up the check. So,
I don't know.
speed things up a little.
No, it's encouraging, the 15th.
Yeah.
Should have been the first.
The financial audit for the hospital starts today.
Actually, it started Friday.
Start well. Yeah. They'll
I've
be.
been having chest pains since Friday.
It's a bad way to
You were
generate
cringing
business.
there, I'm like,
It'll be fine, but my first one.
I'm not abandoning you, you'll be fine. They're good people.
They're very nice.
Yeah. They start today, officially, they'll be in the building. It'll probably take a couple months to get the final report done, and we can present that to you after.
This is year end.
This is year end for 2011.
Year end is starting in
Well-
Our audit for 11 is in May.
May. And
And we put it off for a
The
couple
end of
months, not knowing the outcome of the petition. You know,
Mhm.
because that's a tremendous amount of information to have to put in an audit report.
Right.
There will be a
Right.
going concern comment for 2011, which is what was in there for 2010. There isn't any way that they could not put it in for 2011, in my opinion. I think for 2012, it will be better, and that going concern will probably go away. I don't know exactly all of the things that they do to look at that, but obviously we made it through 2011, we're in business and we're working, and 2012 is better than 2011. But that will probably be in the audit, just to be prepared. I don't expect anything else to come out of it. I haven't seen the management letter from the last audit. The management letter is what the auditors write to the board of directors directly that says, here's what you're doing good, here's what you're not doing so hot, and here's what you're doing wrong. If there were wrong stuff, we would have talked about that, but there's always some general things that they can help, provide guidance on. You shouldn't have the same person deposit checks that reconciles the bank. You shouldn't have the same person write checks that has access to the bank account. I mean, those kinds of things. And those come up in every small hospital, even in Pratt, every year, because you just can't hire enough people and separate enough jobs to make the auditors 100% happy.
You do still have board members sign checks?
Uh-huh.
Sign, yeah, the designated check signer on.
Boy is usually the one that signs. He or Mary.
Okay. Somebody was trying to tell me that they did away with that, and I didn't think that was the case.
so what's the current employment at the hospital now? Number of employees? Huh?
43.
43.
43 full-time, 5 part-time, and 5 intro. So, that was what
PRN.
PRA.
PRN.
But 43 actual full-time.
Quite a reduction.
From 61.
Usually 61 or
68.
Yeah, it was 68, you're right.
It goes for as needed, basically.
And that's sad, but I'm still happy that we were able to accomplish it. That's gonna help a lot.
Yes. What? You've given me the sniff.
The parking lot was still in good shape with all the cars parking in. It was good news, the budget, the pre-season parking lot.
I'm working.
I noticed in the paper you're having a health fair
Mhm.
in Seward. Nobody up there knows it.
Really?
Oh, how? Is there any
We sent,
thing on
Joe
the
sent all
bulletin
the stuff
board?
to the people to put on the bulletin board.
She was telling me last week, she was communicating with somebody, I can't think who it is.
Who is she communicating with?
I'll ask her, I can't remember who she said it was.
Yeah, when we were up there, the lady told us, gave Joe her name and address and email and all that stuff, so that, and Joe said she sent it she sent it to everyone at the meetings, that gave us and said, send it to me and I'll get it posted. We took all those down and she's
I thought you did.
Yeah, she sent it to all of us.
Specifically that night that they said to send it to, and then she had found somebody else, and I can't remember who that person is. But I will check with her right
You can send me
So
some.
we need some Kenny.
back. You had said at one point, you know, if you want to get the word out, hang it in the elevator.
Yeah.
Can I send you some stuff to hang in the
Would
elevator?
you please? And I'll get it up there and ready to
The
go.
restaurant up there, or back to two choices.
Right.
The blonde
2
lady.
elevators and.
Farrah?
Blonde lady, the
Yeah, Sarah,
Blonde
that's Sarah.
hair? Farrah?
that was one of them.
That was the,
Is
yeah,
the
but I
clerk,
can't
I always
remember
forget her name.
Yeah,
who she
she's
was
the mayor.
talking to last week.
She's the mayor.
Farrah's the mayor, but I don't think that's who you were
I
talking
don't
about.
know.
Joe took her, I don't remember her name.
I will
City
check
clerk.
with her though.
Sandra
Oh, Sandra's one.
Wilhelm.
She was sitting over here,
Yeah.
darker hair.
Right.
No,
No. She's kind of blondie.
Sandra is the city treasurer. Up there.
Yeah, I think so.
Uh,
Clerk or treasurer, whatever.
She's treasurer. Barbara Owen is the
Oh, well, that could explain it.
I think that's, sounds like.
Was it Barbara?
I think so.
It's probably sitting on her desk. Hey, send me some, would
If you're
you?
gonna be here, I'll bring you some stuff back over.
I'm not gonna plan on being here all morning.
I'll send it to you.
You'll be gone.
Oh, well.
Email it to her.
If you email it,
Yeah, can you email it over?
Smart.
if you
And then
email
I
it.
can print it
yeah.
out
Okay.
and we can send
Okay.
somebody.
Send somebody.
You'll be back in
Yeah,
20
if she could
minutes, I don't
email it
think.
over, even within the next hour, we could print it out and you can take it.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'll do that.
that would work.
Okay.
It's in the newspaper, doesn't everybody read the newspaper? Sure. Nobody reads the crap paper either.
I read it, I did, I read it.
You guys got any other questions for us so we can answer?
That you can answer? You can answer everything, can't you? Don't you know everything?
I try. I don't know what I'm gonna make it up. I'm trying to get as close as I can.
So how are our accounts receivable? The real accounts receivable?
We're collecting.
Is that helping? Is that gonna help?
It is. And the patient financial manager, the guy who's in charge of that at Pratt, has come up a couple times and sat through and walked through the system. There's no gaping holes in the system. So now, I mean, it's not like you can get 12 days out of something because we were letting it go forever. There's a day here or a day there,
You can
which will help.
condense that process substantially.
Yeah.
And how about your collections and your policy? I mean, it was just too lenient, even though we were working on that.
We addressed that as
Okay.
well,
Yeah.
and there was kind of like, it ended up being out 5 months, and it's kind of condensed down to like 3 strikes you're out, so. Yeah.
Hi.
Well, hopefully you'll get your money this month soon, and you'll get it cleared up. I don't know, from what you're telling me, it looks like they're going the right direction.
We feel like we're going in the right direction.
You feel that way too? That's good to know, so.
Yep.
Let's communicate with the rest of the county what you're up to, and I don't know in Hudson, I haven't been over there, but I'm wondering if you have the same issues.
Okay. We'll check the roll call, so we'll email you something this morning.
Okay, good, 'cause I know there's nothing wrong with bulletin board at the elevator, and that's where
That's where it needs to be.
that's really, that in the restaurant, but they're gonna talk about it at the elevator.
Okay.
You know, they'll see it and talk about it, they need something to talk about up there besides me.
Thank you.
It's not funny.
It's quite funny. Hi, boys, be good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You too.
See you later.
Bye.
Hi, how are you?
the flyer that came with the building stuff, you got any help? Is it today, times and everything on when they're gonna be at sooner? Okay, okay, that would be great.
Apparently haven't paid the sheriff. This girl squirts apple oil, I can find it easy.
You gentlemen are gonna be in session for a few moments. I'll run over and make a copy of the health fair flyer. Several of them.
Or we're still in session right now?
We're still in session, I believe.
Lisa, do you
You
have
have
something?
something?
All right, go.
Yeah, go
Steve's
for
not
it.
next?
No, he's waiting on the sheriff.
Sheriff.
How funny is that? See, she's wrong. She knows.
You guys roll your eyes a lot around here, you know?
Get that out.
We work for way too long.
They can't see
Don't give that out? All right, I didn't know
Kids
that.
can't see that. I seen a picture of the old school, the castle type looking school on Facebook.
That's Hill.
And your dad's farm is back there in the background of that, I'm pretty sure.
It was.
So where the old school sit? You know where
That's
the,
right on the other end, isn't it?
No, I
There's one down here south.
no, it said in the picture that where the courtyard is at the St. John School is where that school stood, and they built the new school around it. Now, I don't, that's kind of what I gathered from the Facebook post, but it was interesting. So, but there wasn't very many homes.
Those trees, not the.
Yeah, not very many trees, and I could see yours off in the background, so I thought that was neat.
Where was this?
On Facebook, Janet Zimmerman posts a lot of old photos and stuff, and
I need to talk to them.
it's interesting. He posts those old,
He's got lots of walls. We can put them in the hallway, in the ceiling.
he
George
posts a lot of
does
old
some
pictures
sewers,
and
he's got
stuff,
them on
and
the
people
ceilings.
comment, you know, they try to find out who it is and stuff.
Yeah, you
He's
got,
really built
keep
a
waiting
lot
for
of
those
history.
bobcats to fall off, but they never
It's
have.
interesting.
You know, what if he's using the CD that was compiled 4 or 5 years ago?
Oh, that was pretty clever, you know, you're sitting there and you
I
go.
don't know how many thousand.
And you know, his dad was
Drink as you get more relaxed.
so they.
Hi.
Because it says radium, the post office.
Oh, yeah, that had to be what
railroad
happened.
station, Seward's post office twice, the new Roman, the depots. They're all in this CD.
I was about to say a depot of sewer.
I got it.
Do you really?
Tell you, he's a go-to guy.
But we got sworn.
Bill Borowicz always like,
Postage
"Oh,
machine.
remember the cattle pens? Bill, I wasn't even born.
Yeah.
I've gotten some prices together for 2 different types of postage machines. One is called a Hasler / Neopost, and the other one's a Pitney Bowes. The model is an IS 400, and the Pitney Bowes comparable is the Connect 2000. And then they gave me 36-month, 48-month, 63-month price, but Pitney Bowes just gave me a 60-month price, just for a comparable. And then the next size smaller machine is an IS 460, and then the Pitney Bowes machine is a DM 75. Although I don't think we're comparing apples to apples on those machines. But the 63-month is $333, and the 60-month for the Pitney Bowes is $269. And then I just price quoted a couple supplies. You know, you use a lot of ink and a lot of sealer. Okay, on the Hasler machine, sealant's $139 for a 5-gallon thing, and for Pitney Bowes it's $90 for a 5-gallon. And for the ink, $189. For a Pitney Bowes it's $78. Now, it's why the ink is so much more expensive on their machine is, I guess the print head is right in with the ink. So that's why the ink cartridge is a little bit more expensive. So you guys can hash this around, what kind of machine, if we stay doing, the smaller machine will not work if we stay, you know, I'm thinking about outsourcing tax statements. If we outsource tax statements, I could see the need for maybe a smaller machine. That would be the only thing to think of. But I know the appraiser's office would still have a need for a faster machine, so we really need to talk to them if they would mind downsizing or not. So, some things to think about. I've done some price comparisons on outsourcing. Just don't have all my information together yet. So far it looks like it's a wash. It could go either way as far as cost efficiency, but I'm waiting on a few more prices before I bring the information on that.
I didn't know that anybody else in the market besides Pitney Bowes. Seems like you always said about Pitney Bowes, you had a
Yeah,
choice.
and these people were at a meeting a couple of years back, and I kept their information. Reno County uses them, and they are real impressed with them. I called them for a reference. So,
I thought they had the market for it, but
they
somebody else
pretty
said
much did until a couple of years ago. These people are out of Wichita. The other machine besides Pitney Bowes.
But their ink and sealant is more expensive.
Yeah, so I thought that was interesting. I thought, well, you know, it may be a little bit cheaper on the month to month, but you may pay a little bit more on supplies. It's probably an even wash that, you know, whichever way you decide to go. I really thought about shortening our lease this time because if you're going to change a machine, like if we decide to go to this other machine and not go with Pitney Bowes,
Don't like it,
we got to
locked
do the
in.
whole lease.
Right.
So that's the advantage of doing a shorter lease. But if you're going to stay with the same company, you can upgrade your lease anytime and they just rewrite it. There's no penalties or nothing. But if you're wanting to change machines, that's where a shorter term lease might be. Our lease comes up June 30th. So, you know, we plugged this one along long enough that if we do want to make a change, now would be the time to do that. Or, you know, I don't care. But it's okay to upgrade if the machine's wearing out, but you just got to stay with that product.
So do you have a preference?
I don't. Do you, Nita? No, I really don't. I think Reno County complained that Pitney Bowes didn't give good service, but I cannot say Pitney Bowes has not given us good service. I've been satisfied. When I call them, they're usually here the same day. So, I think they're both be good machines. So, you can think about it.
Inks in 5-gallon buckets as well?
No, just the sealant is in 5-gallon containers. The ink is just a little cartridge you put in the machine. For the red ink is what it is that prints the postage stamp. So I
It's
don't.
weird, 63 months, that's 5 years and 3 months.
Yeah, we're on a 5-year lease right now with Pitney Bowes, so.
The longer the lease, the cheaper it is, which makes sense.
And you know, the Pitney Bowes person said, well, if you were having trouble, you know, because I said this machine's on the last leg, he said, you know, we could go ahead and upgrade you, but I'm holding it out in case we want to change hands, so. But I really don't have a preference. I think either one will do good, and I think it's a toss-up on, you know, one charges more for ink, the other one doesn't. But one's a little bit cheaper every month than the other, so it probably all is an even wash.
And we have Pitney Bowes now, and you're happy enough with them, you don't have any real complaints?
No, it's up to you guys, whatever you want to do. It's whatever you think, so.
You want me to come back in a couple weeks, or you want to decide today, or you want to wait and see what I find out more with tax statement issue?
Yeah, we just will get all the facts first
Yeah.
and then make a decision.
Okay, sounds good to me.
All right. So you got this so far to study on.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, Lisa. Carolyn? Good morning.
This is the resolution we talked about last week that
Oh.
would increase the authorization for the Rural Opportunity Zone program. And in the last week, Nita had Joe Shupacker look at it, and he had no problems with it. And I also confirmed with the Department of Commerce that it meets their needs, and it does. So it, again, it increases the authorization for,
What's the number? Is that-
8. Go ahead.
it increases the authorization that Stafford County is giving to this program to a total of $10,000, up from $6,000, and it's coming out of the existing budget of Stafford County Economic Development. So this is no new expenditure or expense to the county.
Okay.
Okay.
Sounds good. It's a positive thing.
Yeah, and I had-
People participating and it's working.
3, pretty sure they're going to apply type of conversations last week. One is going to be a resident of Maxville. 2 are going to be near Hudson. And had probably 3 or 4 just random, they know nothing about Stafford County, just inquiring because we're in our rural opportunity zones. The first 3 are interested specifically in Stafford County. We've got employment specifically in Stafford County, but it's generating some activity, so I think it's a good thing.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve resolution 2012-8, authorize participation in the student loan program.
I'll second that motion.
Been moved and seconded that we accept resolution number 2012-8. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Maybe sign one.
Keep
Come on.
someone.
It's supposed to be published. Says in there you're gonna publish it.
Okay.
And what I do is send Trish an electronic copy of it,
Okay.
and she'll publish it off of that. Fill in the date,
Okay.
today's date. We don't publish the signed things.
Okay.
She would rather have them electronic. Or I can do it for you. Let me do it.
Whatever.
I'll do it for you.
Thank you.
Have we heard anything about the grant, about the road leading into the
I
railroad?
called just, not last week, but the week before, and no announcements have been made. So I would expect that it could be just about any time now that they'll make their announcements one way or the other, but they haven't yet.
I forget his name, but the assistant director up there, and there's Dan Saberson, who's the overall guy, and then there's his assistant. I talked to him Saturday, and he said that they need to get some people out to look at that road, and, you know,
They meaning the Interior Department or the
Yes.
Transportation Department?
the interior, or the wildlife, and whoever.
Okay.
It's some office in Denver, who they are under.
Uh-huh.
So,
Okay.
because there was issues about the trees and so on and so forth. But
When
I
we
told him-
submitted the
yeah,
application,
and I told
the
him that.
regional office, which might be Denver, but it covers 7 or 8 states
Right.
in the West, they wrote a letter of endorsement for it, which I considered a positive thing, but they wrote it without having me.
Right. And then there's also an issue, I guess, from the Department of Commerce about broadband coverage and so on and so forth. Because I mentioned at this meeting last Saturday that, you know, we're so in tune to iPhones and so on and so forth, and when you get up by the big marsh, there's no signal. And the governor was not aware of this, and I talked to Becky, who's this...
Weller, Becky Weller maybe?
No, this is a gal from Kansas Department of Wildlife and Tourism.
Okay.
I forget her last name, but she said something. She had mentioned that the Department of Commerce had accumulated some money through the feds, I guess, for, you know, the broadband coverage. And, you know, we just spoke briefly because everyone was leaving, and but it is a concern.
What's the barrier? Is it a matter of authorization on federal land? Is it a matter of an interested private party to invest in the cell tower? Is, you know, I mean, what's the...
I don't know what the issue is, and I'm certain that if the refuge would have cell phone coverage, I don't think they would object to a tower. Now, maybe because of the birds, yes, but I noticed that just south of 19 and east of 281, there's a tower, but apparently it's not a cell tower because I didn't have any bar when I went by it. I had no signal whatsoever. And but if they're talking about downloading apps for Cheyenne Bottoms and Quivira and, you know, getting all these people to come and look at birds, if they don't have cell coverage, they're not going to set foot in. Once they lose a signal, they're going to turn around and leave. And although we do have the GPS locations and so on and so forth, but that's... And there was complaints about signage and people getting lost. And I just, it reinforced my argument about having some type of cell phone. Now, apparently with this drilling companies and stuff, and there are certain states that are saying that, okay, you know, they're using Wi-Fi, and when they get done at the drilling site, they're to leave their Wi-Fi. And whether that was, I don't know where, Pennsylvania, I think. Ted Eubanks was talking about that. But my understanding, you still have to have a signal, don't you, to get Wi-Fi?
Yeah. You have to have either a satellite or a hard line
So anyway,
connection.
that was two issues: the road leading into the visitor center and cell phone.
Well, I checked, yeah.
It'll be 5-6 months before we hear, you know, what this summit, what was resolved from this summit last Saturday, or maybe 9 months. So that's all I know.
Thank you.
You still waiting, Steve?
Well, I have something else to share, and then I'll go ahead and share what the sheriff is about. Actually, the first thing, just got a call from the Kansas Department of Emergency Management. They'll be having a representative or two coming out on Wednesday to visit with townships, cities, county, reference infrastructure damages from the tornado storms. So that'll be Wednesday at 1 o'clock in the afternoon at the EMS station, the Emergency Operations Center.
So townships need to be aware of this?
Yes, so we're going to hold them as soon as we can, let them know.
Was there townships that had damage to buildings?
I think there
or
was,
equipment?
well, there would have been 3 townships that had significant damage in their townships. I don't know whether they had roadway, these would be roadway infrastructure such as
I see.
the city had some sewer on equipment and buildings and stuff here in St. John. That would be covered. Phil would have had roadway issues, some, you know, some of the roads, 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 the head crews out, and any of those expenses would be those that would be ones that they'd be talking about. The other thing with the sheriff, and he may come up here later today, but he wanted to visit about the generator. I had shared that we could, certainly look at the MPG emergency management performance grant. The only problem with that, it's a ways off, and the state is just putting more and more requirements on us to reach the hurdles. The hurdle keeps getting higher. I'm told that that's because they like to keep some of those funds within their own state agency. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's what some people say. That if they don't distribute some of them, they stay in the state agencies. So I kind of suspect if that's true, that that's why we're getting higher hurdles to overcome. And that doesn't create a real hardship for Wichita and Lawrence that have a staff of 15 in their emergency management, but for us it becomes pretty daunting. We have to take care of emergencies first, and requirements in EMS and fire, and then emergency management's got to come along a little bit later. And if they just flood us with reports and different stuff of that sort, hour-wise it doesn't even make sense to even continue on with it. So I don't know what we'll see there. We'll certainly try to fulfill all the requirements that they're putting upon us for emergency management performance grants, but I think the sheriff is concerned that our generator was so outdated that we should look at possibly not waiting. I think we had some problems with it during that storm. It went down, and it was used when they bought it.
I know he's getting prices, but
I think they were around 4,000, just a bit over $4,000 for a comparable generator. The same power producing size for a new one. So we're looking somewhere in
You say we
$4,000.
should look at updating a larger one so we can operate more emergency.
We were talking about that, if we can get that funding.
Rather than having just replace what we got, update where we could go ahead and.
Because that grant was about $5,000.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you could throw a little bit of that and get a pretty good generator.
So that's,
If we had
I think if
5,000.
he just wanted to visit about maybe not waiting on that.
What size is the one you got? Is it comparable to
It's
this one down here?
it's a step down from this one.
It is. And that was
That one was a little over 3,000.
And that was surplus, wasn't it?
No.
No?
Brand new.
Brand new. What about the big one on the trailer?
We can always use that one, but it's not it's not meant to be a building generator, so to speak.
Could have to pick everything all up and.
Well, you can't do that. You could use it if we needed it, like when this one went down. That's the purpose of it. When the generator ponds went down, when the power plant went down over at Stafford, that's when it shows up. It's to supplement a problem. So if you lost power somewhere, then that's what it's meant to be. And then other counties have them too. And so if we had some pretty devastating damage to where we lost a lot of our buildings had generators, I could request that the other counties bring theirs if they weren't affected, and they'd all show up individually.
Like at Greensburg, they had a whole bunch.
That way, so the cities are, and they're all the same. So the cities learn how to use this one. This one isn't going to be available to everybody, but there'll be others that show up. And so if you know how to use this one, there'll be twins and triplets and quadruplets that show up. You'll get one from somewhere.
But we can't use this one in place of that long enough to get this grant. Or see if we're gonna get this grant.
Well, it's not really meant to be a building
I
generator.
understand
It can certainly, if this one failed, we can bring it over and hook it up. The problem with having our communication center hooked up to that. I mean, relying upon power, just getting somebody, because we're all, when an emergency hits, everybody, we're using everybody. We really don't even have the resources to have somebody go get it and get it hooked up. So,
Well, we'll see what happens.
yep, okay, thank you.
Thanks, Dave.
Yeah, if you get a bigger one, I mean, it'd be nice that if something were to happen,
You can drill this forward here.
well, if we could run our offices,
Right.
That's the idea.
that
What was the
would get our,
idea?
have our server to be able to function.
Yeah, I
Have you
talked to
done
Kevin
the
Davis
10,000?
about that, he was in here, and he said the problem with getting one to run the whole building would be the heating and air conditioning. Somebody would have to manually shut that off before it kicked on.
Right.
So, I mean, something happens in the middle of the night, who's gonna go down and shut the air conditioning off? You know what I mean? Because he said we can't afford one big enough to run that too, obviously. But he didn't know if there was some way we could bypass that part and just, so that the rest of us could function
Yeah.
if we had to. I brought it up with him.
Because it'd be nice if at least.
If we just run our
If it
computers.
would run the network and maybe even one or two plugins in each office, so at
Yeah.
least one computer could run.
Well, I'm
That's
sure
the
we
way
could
he
overcome
acted.
that. I'm sure.
He didn't know if we could bypass the heating and cooling system. That was the big thing with him was, as long as that didn't
Well,
kick on.
Sure could. Something like that.
What you would do is leave it hooked up the way it is, so that when it comes on, it does what it does now, that it has a capacity so that you can turn these other systems on.
For the rest of us, because right now it just runs dispatch.
Right, but then we would have a connection somehow to the rest of the stuff, and that would be
After somebody
manually
flips the-
turned on,
Yeah.
and then
okay.
you could turn it on as you need it, or as, you know.
Well, yeah, it'd be like our generator in our house, we gotta go out to the pole and flip everything.
But you know, this automatically comes on to the emergency stuff,
Right.
but then if we have the extra capacity, which I think is a very good idea, then we could physically turn it
Turn
on.
on
and
to
use it as
other
a-
areas.
But it's not gonna automatically come to the pool.
I didn't know.
I
You
think
will have
that'd be very
dispatch,
good.
to have dispatch where automatic comes on.
Just like
That
it is
is,
now, right.
Have the, bit large enough that you can go ahead and turn the other on if you need
But
to.
if you don't have a generator large enough, it's pointless.
Right.
Right.
So the first key is to get a generator that's large enough. And how
Well,
large
that
that
would
is, I don't
be a
know.
little bit of forward thinking, that would be nice.
Yes, it would. But our idea was that if we got this grant, which was $5,000, then we could put a little more money on top of that and get a really nice generator. You know, $7,000, $8,000 to buy a
Yeah,
heck
it
of a
would be
generator.
nice though if we could
Yes,
function.
put your hand up.
I'm just,
Hold on. Ready to recess? Yeah, go ahead. I thought maybe we needed to go.
Well, I want to visit with you guys about the generator, and I talked about that last year. The equipment in dispatch that got damaged is the result of the generator surging, too much amps. So I got 3 bids on generators the same size. Actually, one of them, I got 2 bids from Meyer Electric. One of them's for a 20K, one of them's for 17. And this existing one is a 15, but they evidently don't make them anymore. They're all 17s. And then I also have a bid that Nick got. It's the same type of generator they put at the EMS building. And the bid he got is $44.99. And that is not installed, that's just
Shipped in.
right. These 2 bids from Meyer Electric are installed, and they also have the automatic start, so we don't have to have a lever for the dispatch to turn it on. And the 20K, which I don't think we need that much, is $64.55. And then the 17K from Jeff is $48.70. And I did contact Davis Electric, and Kevin called this morning, and they didn't have a chance to get the bid done, and he said he understood, because I told him that we'd I'd bring it up here today, so
What about Williamson Electric?
I didn't contact them.
They did probably electrical work.
I didn't know that.
Who's this bid from? Do we know?
From the vendor.
Yeah,
It's just a, oh, it's
This is
just
just
a
a price
catalog?
sheet.
it's,
right?
yeah, just,
Oh, Northern Tool, okay.
and I can get one from Williamson's.
You say you don't think you need a 20K?
Well, I know 15K is enough, I mean, it's been enough for what we needed. Now, if you wanna do the whole courthouse, I'm sure we're gonna need more, but if it's just our dispatch, I would think 17 would do it.
Well, we were talking about, if we got one, getting, upgrading, and being able to do more things. It's gonna take a little research.
Well,
You know, to see what level we can get and what we can accomplish by getting to that level.
well, and I understand that, but we're in tornado season, and if we get hit again, it's gonna happen again.
Well, what caused the surge, you know, have anybody check it over, see what's wrong with it?
Yeah, we've had trouble with that generator for 2 years. We test it every month, and I said that it surges. I mean, we've had people look at it. We got it in 90
Yeah, Gene
or
got
91.
it. Yeah, Gene got it.
Yeah, and it was used then. I mean, it's old.
Right.
I mean, it's just shot.
Well, the generator works, it's just surging,
Right.
and it just happens when it starts up, apparently.
No, this, when it did it the other night, it'd been running for a while. And we had,
Really?
yeah, and Doug Brown was actually fairly close to here, and he came in, and when he came in, it was at 300. Well, it's, you know, it shouldn't get that high. And that was, shoot, 15, 20 minutes into it. So, and when that, and this has nothing to do with the generator itself, and we did contact the city, but apparently, whenever it kicks on, it messes with, oh, what is her name? She used to have the other flower shop. Tony's daughter.
Michelle used
Yeah, it messes with their lights. I don't know, but we, yeah, I mean, that's something to do with the city, so we contacted them about that, but.
That's my lights up not too.
Well, yeah, sure, but it does it whenever we test it. So it's pulling somehow, pulling juice from her house.
That's probably what happened, was it surged, and she shut her lights off, so it sent it back into the courthouse. Otherwise, she'd used it up, and it's safe. That's probably what that's designed for. You can tell her to leave her lights on, you'll be fine.
Can you get a loaner or something until decisions made for the rest of the courthouse, or?
Well, the problem is that, you know, we have a chance of getting this grant that would more than cover this, and what we were hoping was that we could get this grant and put a little more money on top of it and improve.
Make it bigger?
Yeah.
Well, we can't hardly get any more bids because we've already discussed the prices up here this morning, so what they already bid on, so it wouldn't be,
Right,
we could do that now.
right.
Or just know what the price is gonna be.
So how long before this grant?
It seemed like a long time to me. It went
I don't know what
He
you
said
say.
it's a ways off.
That's all we got was it's a ways
I
off.
don't know what that means.
I'm sure it'll be after the, major storm season's over. I can't
Well,
remember.
I can,
That's what we were hoping
But
last
we
year.
don't-
That was basically our plan when we did this last year.
You know, it'd be nice to have enough that you could, something really, gonna last quite a while, a long time or something that you can about power. That, we could power up at least the floor of the courthouse up here, where you can have business,
right,
keep up something up here on the way business is, like at Green Square or something, hope you have anything like that, but where you'd have your dispatch and have
But we don't
at
even.
least the floor, I'm not saying.
That may not even be feasible. It may take so much.
They take more to do it, we don't know.
It's not feasible.
right.
As is actually quite a dilemma, which is, we were laboring under the assumption that this generator was adequate for what we needed at the time. We knew that it was something we needed to work towards.
Right.
Now what you're saying is we need to replace it immediately.
Well, I mean, I'm,
You probably still want something separate from the courthouse anyway, really, for dispatch.
Well,
That's what I was
So
wondering.
Yeah,
If,
you wouldn't want to depend on, so it might be good to have dispatch separate from the courthouse anyway.
well, yeah, my main concern is if we go through another deal like that, see, we lost our phone lines, we lost, law enforcement radio, so they were pretty much helpless down there. They couldn't set off sirens, they couldn't do anything. And I don't really want to see that happening again. I mean, it's hectic.
Now, this would be out of your budget if you go through the sheriff's department, right? This,
Well, I don't have it in my budget, but,
oh,
I mean, I didn't put it in there.
So he's recommending, well, first of all, is the 17 KW hooked up just the same as the old one.
Mm-hmm.
This would not be my recommendation. Does he mean not the 17 or the way it's hooked up?
Then not the 17.
Not the 17.
He wanted to go with the 20.
Okay.
And why did you want to go with the 20? Because
Just more.
you don't need it.
Well, I don't think so, but I'm not an electrician. I don't
Yeah, me neither. They
know.
can tell you anything they want, and I gotta believe them,
But he also, I mean, the way it's hooked up now, we have to throw the switch too. And the way he wants to hook it up is so it automatically comes on.
oh, yeah.
but you want
It'd be
that.
better.
Not what you want to do.
Right.
Well, yeah, but just come on. Sure we don't put the car in there.
I'd have to look, but I'm sure we have enough in the 911 fund as far as that goes.
Say you will have.
in courthouse general, there's a building repairs and maintenance fund. Because it's for the building, I mean,
Well, if, this would have been nice just to get a bigger one. I guess if we have a big emergency, we have that portable generator that might be available to run the courthouse. But if we have a big emergency, that thing's gonna have lots of places to go. But according to Steve,
Yeah, but-
other towns can bring stuff in for us.
But right now,
Maybe we better
I guess
just address this.
we need the dispatch for sure.
And not worry about.
And we got our
I really hate to do that.
command center out of Tuesday,
well,
we got
but I
that.
kind of agree with Lisa, I think it would be better if the courthouse was separate than.
Well,
there.
like I was saying, you can do that
Right, oh.
with a switch.
I
you
don't
know.
anything about it.
Well, that's just, circuit breaker, is all that is. But you gotta have the capacity to make it worthwhile. We can have two generators eventually, if that's what we wanna do. That's gonna cost more money than doing one single generator.
Do you want, I mean, I don't,
Well-
hopefully a week isn't gonna matter, but do you want me to try to talk to these people about a bigger one to run the whole courthouse?
Well, we're not gonna run the whole courthouse, but we'd like to, be able to- what you guys were saying is like to be able to have computers come up. No, we're not gonna be able to run air conditioning and heating,
Nothing like that.
Right.
but basic goods and services the courthouse provides. And what level, we don't know because we don't know even what it's gonna take to do that. I don't know who could answer those questions. I mean, an electrician could, I would think.
Yeah, I would assume.
But how easily, how much research is that?
It's gotta cost a lot more time. I know it's gonna cost more money to wire it up, home. I mean, how much it's gonna cost, but I'm sure it's gonna be something to split it all.
I think Barton County, I've asked them about their power issue for their courthouse and stuff. I think they are contracted with some company that if they go down, that they are guaranteed to have electricity within 24 hours. They're, you know, like they would bring generators in. I don't even think it's, I don't even know if it's anything that the courthouse owns.
If there's interest in that.
Yeah.
Well, and their 911 is in a separate building.
Right.
So I don't know if something like that would be an option, just
You know, it
to,
might be, 'cause I know a lot of, in the oil field now, when they bring these wells online, they'll bring a generator out and run them, because they can't wait to get hooked up and stuff. So there's a lot of that stuff
There's some things out there.
that weren't around even 10 years ago. And those are pretty big generators. That might be the best way to go.
and I'm sure that's probably a monthly charge.
But in so doing, then we would just give up on this idea of a grant altogether.
If you're gonna do this, you can't hold it for.
Right, and if we apply for the grant, we can't then take that money and bring it, I mean, that,
But how many, that's what I'm saying, we're gonna be past storm season if we wait too long.
so you're thinking we need to act.
I don't, I mean, it's, it might be better if we just, it'd probably be simpler just to put it back up like it was before.
Not worry about it too much.
The other part, maybe,
I wonder how
it'd be
much-
nice to have it all, but I don't know,
Wonder how much,
I don't know how much it costs for the, to do it. I have no idea what it'd take to run it.
I don't know.
It shouldn't take too much more just to run the, you know, your 110 rounds here. Not the air conditioner, so.
And it's been so long ago since they hooked this one up, I know it took them a while. 'Cause but all the lines, I mean, they have them existing now.
Is this one hooked to natural gas?
Yes.
Okay. Is that what we're pricing as natural gas?
So in the 17K is reinstalling the existing switches, whereas on the 20 will be auto exercise, auto start, install new auto switch, auto transfer switch. So there's some updates on the 20
But
that's
it
not
doesn't have on
included.
there.
You get a lot more, stuff like a
Right.
bigger one.
What was the difference in price?
1,500.
Where could this money come from?
There's money in courthouse, gym, building.
And 911, you said?
I'd have to look. I would imagine that there's enough in there.
$1,400 difference.
Not very much difference for that, but either, and everything all these, I think, is all
I would
this.
think that's a no-brainer, right?
Too much.
Too much, it's better not have it up, is it?
There's Fund 55 and 75.
There's a possibility maybe you can make, run off that much more, but because you could power up here sometime, go ahead and get power up here, an officer too, just to, nothing.
31,000 in your 911.
What is that money for? Is there, do you have other needs?
Well,
Which what they pays his phone lines.
right.
Wireless has 18,000.
Those two are gonna become one.
Right.
We just haven't done that yet.
Right.
We've been waiting to see if we get any more 911 money come in.
Yeah,
but
that's
I think
what
we're
we
gonna-
pay
Can
all.
you use, or there's only certain things you can use that 911 money for?
Yeah, that's what we have to check.
Oh, yeah.
That's a
You
911
may not be
generator.
able to do that.
Right. I know we need it for equipment like consoles and, but I
Right,
don't know about the
but-
generator. I'd have to check.
How about the courthouse?
We can use that courthouse general.
There's enough there.
Yeah, let's see. We budgeted 40, we used 13.
So one of the other, I guess,
Then building improvement.
motion today?
Well, in my opinion, I just think go with the 20K.
For no more money,
As opposed to the
all the
70.
new switches and everything.
Yeah, I can buy one every 20 years.
Yeah, that's not too bad.
No.
Give you trade in.
Well,
Maybe you can call it tax.
Take that.
no, I'm sure you can sell that generator, there will be people interested.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Us little poor farmers would like to have that one.
Perfectly confusion.
Well, it's his proposal is
Sure.
remove and dispose of.
Oh, he's gonna take care of it, good. That was the next question.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if we should give it to him.
Was that figured in his price or something? I don't know.
Well, on the 20K is just remove.
He's not gonna dispose?
It doesn't say that. On the 17, it says remove and dispose of existing 15 kW generator. On the 20K is remove the existing generator.
So we just remove it, check with him and see if he got, you can advertise himself.
Yeah, I
Well,
think we should,
exercise
I think we
on
should take bids on it, I really do.
I mean, you put it in the paper, see if he sells it. If not, you could hold up a great bid.
We could take it to car
You
auction.
would
So
sell
they sold
ads, that's
several
not
of them.
responsible,
Right.
da-da-da, that's,
You don't wanna do that?
well, no, I'm just saying you would have to sell it as is, not responsible if it blows everything up in your house like it did in dispatch.
Yeah, that's
I mean,
true.
As is,
I tell you what,
period.
we had a generator one year and we lost our appliances. And is that, yeah,
I just
that's
don't like
true.
generator.
Would you like another one?
Don't like it.
Of course, I like the
I like
fact that I got a
having
new
electricity.
refrigerator and dishwasher.
For one bulb or something like that.
How, what's the time frame on this, you know?
When we had the ice
I
storm,
haven't talked to
lots of
him
neighbors
about
lost
that.
deep freezes, refrigerators,
Like I say,
microwaves.
it's a pretty important time right now.
I have a generator.
And you, it's,
Yeah,
load
I
up,
use
dust
it
stuff
for
the other
electric
time, probably,
chainsaws.
to offset some of the cost, probably.
Yeah. Yeah,
I
I
have
just,
a well.
Did the
I
insurance
hate,
fit?
I hate to be in that situation again where we have no communications and it takes a while to read out the phone lines.
Yeah, I got no problem with it, I think let's do it.
I think probably just wait and see on the other one, and then the 20, because for the difference of money, you're getting all brand new
Right.
switches and everything else, and then I would check and see about the other, what plans to do with the other generator.
Okay.
No, it is here, just remove.
Yeah, which said, yeah. Then if there's.
I'm sure that Hood's,
He knows the
can
market
use a
for it.
generator. I mean, if nothing else, but donate it to.
There you go.
I'll give you $1.
I'd rather see something that happen to it like that than he take it. And, you know. Now, if it's figured into his bid, that's one thing, but I don't think it is.
Okay, you need
I need a motion.
Need a motion.
And we'll figure out.
to, you got figures, go ahead.
I'll go ahead and make a motion, we accept this proposal from Meyer Electric for a 20K natural gas generator for $6,455.
Second motion.
It's been moved and seconded, we accept the bid from Meyer for the 20K generator. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Yeah, the old one down, it was used, I don't know where it come from, surplus somewhere, did it?
Yeah, I can't remember if it was Army or state surplus, but I remember Ed McClish got it. It's been there a while.
Well, it's something we should have done last year, but it's always after the horse is out of the barn.
All right.
You might not think might not you be used again for another, how many years
Hopefully
you
it
had
won't.
it?
Yeah.
But I mean, for public safety, I mean, we gotta,
Yep.
Thank you, Jeff.
Well, I appreciate it, thanks.
Are you
Remind you
moving?
the conversion for EMV
Yes,
Oh, yeah, I've got one of these for you.
You moving this week?
yes.
Because the whole thing is what, trim?
Yeah, Mr. Dater said he'd take care of the,
Okay.
he's gonna touch up some paint spots and patch a few holes in the wall, but, yep, we will be moving this week and then try to set it up for him to start and dispatch. That's gonna be a cluster. And when, I don't know how busy you guys are, but when they took the wall out, I showed Nita, and when they took the wall out in the deputy's office, that's the hard linoleum, or not linoleum, but tile floors. Well, it took chunks out of the floor. And I had Mike look at it. He said it'd be nice if you could find tile and just take out the piece, but you'll never find that tile. But he said that possibly they make, I don't know what he calls it, it's like a cement,
Floor stone.
but you can just patch it with. But I thought you guys might want to look at it. I mean, that'll be a place where people come in to do the VINs, and I don't want it to look bad. I mean, he can fix the walls. It's the floor that I'm concerned about. So, if you guys have time to look at it.
Yeah, basically, we're done. We can.
Yep, yeah, I'll go down and get a key and open it up.
We'll be down in a
Thank
few
you.
minutes.
This is just a
Thanks.
spreadsheet of where everybody's standing on their budget percentages, what we started with, used, remaining,
So,
for your
pretty much
information.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Anything else?
Got all the paperwork in.
I don't think so.
Check sign, there you go.
I think we can adjourn.